Okay, so it's July 8th today, and we are discussing on how we can do status updates, both for the platforms team and for the sales project overall, to see if we can reuse the same code base and have the same way of doing status updates. So I think requirements, let's share my screen maybe. So for me, my requirements, or at least the requirements I'm thinking of, is we don't change much for the grand review, right? Like, um, I don't want to change any workflow from Marian or Fabian on how
Mhm.
they do grand review. Um, we want status updates inside of each epic, and by epic I mean phases. For example, let me share this one as a phase, and a phase can have multiple sub epics as well, so they need to be rolled up. I think the epic issue summaries already rolls up nested epics. Um, all statuses need to be rolled up to the parent epic, which is again very similar to what the SaaS platform issue epic is doing. And now where the status lives, in description or in the comments, I'm impartial really, if it's in the description or in the comments, as long as it's the same for SaaS platforms. And I talked to Rachel a little bit about this. So since we're moving SaaS platform epics under the Cell 1.0 epic, this will break the hierarchy for the issue summary, right? Um, we need to use labels to filter for them. And I talked to Rachel and she said, oh, maybe we can use labels. So anything around SaaS platforms will be filtered by that label, and it will um, bubble up to the grand review for the sales stuff.
Okay. Do you mean this epic?
Yeah, either this epic or something else. I think this epic will be detached from the Cell 1.0. As far as I understood it from Rachel, she's specifically looking at this epic ID, and then the epics underneath it. Um, but this will change, right? We will no longer have SaaS platform contributions to sales. So for example, this morning there was the Ring Zero one, but now I
Yeah.
moved that to under this epic here, the Cell 1.0 pre-QA, which probably removed, no, it's still here. Uh, no, it got removed from the status update, right? Because it's no longer under this hierarchy. So since SaaS platforms is working on this phase right now, we need to roll up the status from here to the grand review. Now, it's being in here or in another epic, doesn't matter to me, but yeah. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it does. Hmm, just thinking about this.
And I was thinking we can probably use this label, right? Like sub-department SaaS platforms, and filter for epics in those.
Yeah. Do you want to use the epic colors?
Ideally, yeah, mostly for the roadmap. but I'm not sure if that affects anything from the issue status update, because um, that doesn't affect anything as far as I know, right?
I'm just not sure what exactly do you want to roll up? What is a status update? Is that just like freeform text that
Yeah,
that's
so
it?
for
Okay.
example, let's go here, right? I want in this epic, I want a new either table or section where it takes the status of this one. For example, it takes this one and puts it here, similar to what we have in this epic, right? So this epic is rolling up the status for all the sub epics that are in progress. So if you look at the disaster recovery one, for example, you have
Yeah.
a status here, and that's being rolled up in here. So I want to do the same for this L 1.0 epic.
Yeah. Um, well, okay. How about we first let's talk, I guess, about what the epic issue summary Ruby code does and whether we can adapt it to what you need. Is that a good path forward for now? I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
let's give it a shot.
okay, so let me share my screen. Um so how this works is that it creates a bunch of sections in the description of the top level epic and um, essentially using labels, using workflow info labels on the epic to like categorize the linked epics uh,
And
into sections.
is that additive or like authoritative? In the sense that if I add something in the epic description, will it just delete it for me and just uh, leave like delete my content, or will it just handle its own section and that's it?
Um, maybe it'll help us see an example. So if we look at SaaS platforms contributions to cells, you
Mhm.
can see that there are
Yeah.
um, sections, right, for
Uh,
work in progress. And if there aren't any um, like, for example, workflow info proposal, if there isn't any linked epics with that label, then it won't create the section.
yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense.
But if
So
I add something in front of project work, for example, if you go back to the epic
yeah,
and I add something on top of project work, will that be deleted or will it preserve it?
I think it'll delete it. I think it actually edits the entire description. Now we could change that. We could create like a comment block or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, so I don't, yeah, I'm almost certain that like if I edit this, yeah, there's no, so um,
Okay.
we would need to make that change. I think that would be a fairly simple
Yeah.
uh, change to make. Um, and it pulls up the start date, target end date of the linked epic. And um, I guess like it also brings over the labels that are on the sub epic.
Mm-hmm.
That's where these labels are coming from. It uses, since we don't have epic assignees yet, it uses the DRI
Yeah.
in the description using a fuzzy matcher, like to look for it. And then, of course, doing the same thing for the status update. And I linked to that code here. So it does something very, very simple, like looking for this header to um, find the status
Mm-hmm.
update. And, I think this has changed over time, but, it's a fuzzy matcher basically trying to find something that looks like a status update, does the best it can,
Yeah.
and then brings it up into um, and then like some of these are just like in detail blocks because we don't really care about completed work as much. Um, anything that doesn't have a workflow label or any, like so. I'm just concerned that a lot of this stuff is infrastructure specific. There'll be a lot of special, like, there'll probably be some special cases for cells or exclusions for cells that we'll have to figure
Hmm.
out. So I think this is gonna, at a minimum, it's gonna require a bit of refactoring to, this code is probably gonna require a bit of refactoring. It's already been refactored once, the first time I looked at it, and it wasn't a big deal. Um, but I would say like maybe we should refactor it again to make it so that it's a bit more modular than it is now.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, yeah. Um, this was my refactor. It was like I think this was just all like there were just like this was all done in like one big function. So I split it out into sections and then now it loops through the sections and then it has like, okay, for every section, this is the data associated with the section,
Yeah.
But we can,
And
yeah.
technically this works for us. Like we could add a section like, I don't know, workflow, the developer workflow. So just add
Mm-hmm,
workflow in dev, and it will
mm-hmm,
only add it if it's actually
mm-hmm.
present there, right? So I
Yeah.
think that works pretty well. Um,
Um,
do we want to
I,
start?
mhm.
Go ahead. I was gonna suggest maybe we open up an issue and start writing down the requirements. So,
Yeah, yeah, we should. Yeah. I suggested a while ago that on 1B, I linked to this
hmm.
create status summary issue, which is tenant scales using this for creating the status summary updates. This is an older one, but they're in which is just like what it does is um, it's using the Ruby script. It just creates a comment per
Hmm.
epic. You're familiar with this already, right? Or not?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then like it doesn't fill in the stuff automatically. It just creates the scaffolding, and then the owner, the DRI is pinged with an app mention, and then they're responsible for putting in the progress highlights
Yeah.
next, and then risks and blockers. I like this more personally. I feel like I don't know, like it's it's a little bit clearer to me that the DRI needs to has something to do on a regular cadence. Otherwise, like, well, I like it because there's add mentions, and I like it because there's notes instead of editing descriptions. Editing descriptions is a bit crappy
Hmm.
because, but I put this forward to the rest of the team, and they're like, yeah, that sounds like an interesting idea. We should like try it. Like
Okay.
uh, like we could put it. We could probably incorporate it into this epic issue summary thing, um, instead of having a status update in the description of the sub epic. It could be like if you add, well, thinking aloud here, like if the epic issue summary script created a similar type of note on the sub epic and did an at mention, then the DRI could fill it in, and then that would be somehow brought into like the top level epic. Um, I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
haven't really thought it through all the way.
I think if we want to do an automatic comment, like what we do here, we would need to know when the DRI left the update or not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's why I was just thinking of that like myself and like how would you determine whether it's actually filled out or not?
Yeah.
And I think I think what you would do is probably every time you would just run the epic issue updater frequently and you would just take like that comment and you would just put it in, you would just copy it right to the
Yeah, but
right, and it would
if
just
they
always be
don't,
overwritten.
yeah, but if they don't update it, then it will not have the status rolled up, right?
It'll
Let's
just be
say,
empty. Yeah, it'll just be
yeah,
empty until they update it. Like we could even put like placeholder text to say like needs
yeah,
update or something, right? And then it would just be updated periodically, and then until the next update. and then it would drop a new note. Um,
Yeah.
and then you have like a nice record of like, okay, when was the status updated and when was it skipped? You know, that kind of stuff. Like I think like you could have like status update for the week, blah, right? And for the weekend, and then you just have progress highlights, next blockers. That gets copied up to the main epic for
yeah.
that week, and then the next week it starts over.
Yeah. My concern is if someone is out, let's say we place this comment every Monday like this one
Yeah, yeah,
does,
I see.
right?
It overwrites the useful
The,
update that was done 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Um,
then
mhm.
it would be empty, which might be good or bad in the sense that someone else should update it.
Yeah.
Um,
I I mean that's pretty easily addressed, I think. If you had a placeholder text in the note, you could just skip over it if the placeholder
yeah.
text is there, you know, and then but you still would add a new note every week. So then you would get a note every week on the epic
Mm-hmm.
with an at mention. And then if the placeholder text is you know, updated or removed, then we start like
Yeah.
you know, and then of course the status update would probably happen over time, but like it would be updated every however
Yeah.
frequently it runs.
Yeah. Like right now it runs every hour or so, right? So you can kind of
Uh, good question.
the
I
scheduled pipeline runs every hour as far as I
It
know.
does. It does. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I wasn't sure. Okay. So okay, I think like we probably should just, like you said, create an issue and jot down the requirements in the proposal, and then we can start
Yep.
updating the code. Um, how we do the code is I'm not sure yet. I guess one of us will have to draw straws to see who because I don't think it makes sense for both of us to develop this. It's just like not that
Yeah.
complicated and
I'm no
um
Ruby expert, so
you are like as much a Ruby expert as me probably. Um
I doubt it.
but but you're kind of a pain in the ass when it comes to code reviews. So I don't know like
I'll take that
okay,
as a
fine.
compliment.
Fine. I'm gonna have to write unit tests and everything. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, all right, that sounds fine. I'll enjoy it actually. I haven't been doing a whole lot of code. But there's a pretty compressed time for this, right? You want to get it done this week?
Ideally,
Yeah,
but if it's gonna take time, it takes time. That's fine.
yeah,
My goal is to have it done by this week. Um,
yeah.
just
Okay.
so I have something. So
Okay.
make sense?
That sounds good to me. And I think what I'm hoping is that this like works well for cells, and then we can use it for the other teams as well.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
this
And maybe
and
maybe we can hide everything behind a feature flag for now, like in the
yeah,
beginning.
exactly. Yeah, I
Um,
think well every team, I don't know if it depends on how much refactoring you do, but every team has their own Ruby file. So
okay,
we can just like, you know, have a config option for this and like yeah, we'll
makes
figure it out.
sense.
Yeah.
Now regarding the comments, so uh, do you want to do the comments on the SaaS platform ones as well, or just for SaaS for now?
Uh comments? What do you mean
The
by
the comment to hey, leave an update and pinging the DRI.
no, I assume what we'll do is we'll let's see, just look at the code quickly. So there's this teams folder. So we'll create
Okay.
like, you know, here's what cells project looks like. I guess we'll just leave this alone for now, but
Mm-hmm.
like this allows you to create, yeah, I mean, like I'm not
Oh,
super thrilled with the way this is set up, but like this is just how it is. And like we'll I'll figure it out, but we'll create another Ruby file for what we're doing that will update the cells 1.0
mm-hmm.
epic, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll put this in the issue. I think that we'll need to flesh this out in the issue, but there's some changes, right? Because we're going to want to put a comment block, first of all, in the top level epic so that we don't update the whole description, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so so yeah, let's I'll open up an issue and
Do you want to
uh
do it now or do you want to do it async?
let's do it async.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. And yeah, because I think we're kind of on the same page here.
Yep, agreed.
I think we're good.
And the reason I'm asking this is because, like, for example, for the cell project stuff, we've been asked to give updates on Mondays.
Mhm.
Because Tuesday we have the stand up with leadership, where we go through everything,
I
any
see.
blockers. And
Yeah.
I know for the grand review, you leave your updates on Wednesdays. So that's another requirement where that the comment to leave an update needs to happen
Right.
on different days, unless we're gonna ping the person by default on Monday, and then it's up to the DRI to update it by Wednesday, for example, for the grand review.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing how like maybe every team has like a configuration file that has
Mm-hmm.
things like when to update. I'm thinking about moving these Ruby files. I think what's going to happen here is that I'm going to do one refactoring first that doesn't change anything, but just refactors the code a bit so that
Okay.
teams move to a config file per team. And that way we can say like, okay, for this team, we're going to leave, we're going to do the status update thing. And that status update is going to happen on probably a day of the week, like Monday or something.
Yeah.
And then when the script runs, it'll see, there'll have to be some logic to see like, okay, was there a status update left already? If not, then it's today, and if the day matches, then drop the note, like something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Um, okay. Well, yeah, let's see how it goes. I'll create the issue and sketch out how we think this might work.
Perfect. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
man.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll try not to be in a pain in the butt for code reviews.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Ciao.
See ya. Bye bye.